Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to The Final Score with Matthew and
Stevie Fly. What's up, guys? And all I can say is, what have I got myself into? How you guys doing? We haven't been on in a while, and things happen, and hopefully we'll get more on a regular schedule. But look at this ragtag crew I got tonight. A little bit of everything up here. First, in the bottom square, uh, coming in with a hot dog on his breath.
That's right.
The New York Giants fandom part of the final score. Matthew Bazemore, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Stevie? I'm excited to come back up here once again. I know I'm the co-host, but I need to come. The reason why I'm the co-host is so I can make sure you ain't saying nothing, crazy. I know you're a Steelers fan and all.
Me?
Yeah,
I think it's the other way around, dude. I think it's the other way
it is,
around.
but we ain't talking about that. We're talking about Stevie right now.
I mean, you also the guy that said the Giants can win the Super Bowl. So I mean,
who said
you can't get no crazier than that.
Please rewind that so I can hear it. I remember saying that.
I'm just kidding. And let's go to the upper right corner. Booby Miles Jr. up there.
Yes.
The Dallas Cowboys section in the Dallas Cowboys fan section up there. Mr. Eric Sawyer making his second appearance on the show. What's up, Eric?
Yes, sir. Booby Miles, put me in. I'm trying to spin, coach.
You see, he's not wearing his Cowboys jersey. He's got that flag, that banner in the back, but he ain't wearing the jersey tonight. So, anyway, and it's just old me wearing my Shrek shirt tonight. Oh, wearing my Matthew shirt tonight.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
I didn't say which one. It's Shrek and Donkey. I didn't say which one.
Well, you're the donkey. I'll be Shrek.
All right, Facebook users already saying LOL. I don't know who the Facebook user is, but tonight, since we haven't been back on since the Super Bowl, we're going to talk a little bit about Super Bowl. And, of course, the big subject right now in the NFL is free agency. Yep, look at that. You want to win, put Booby in. But, yeah, we'll talk about free agency. We'll talk a little franchise tags, Jason Kelce, and who knows what else is coming up in the next hour while we're up here talking. You never know what might come out of one of our mouths when we get together to start talking. But first of all, Super Bowl. I think one person picked the 49ers to win out of these three. I mean, do you remember, Eric?
No, it wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I mean, it wasn't me. I didn't pick them. Who picked the 49ers to win?
I think Matthew. If I had to
it was me.
Must have been Matthew.
Yeah, it was me. I was going for my heart again,
yeah. Look,
yeah.
Let me tell you though, I wanted the 49ers to win, and man, what a game it was. Goes to overtime, and I mean, it's a tale of two halves because first half, you look at the first half of that game, and the 49ers are dominating. I mean, they're dominating on every stat except one. When you can't put 6 on the board, and you're letting the Kansas City Chiefs hang around, and they're within striking distance at halftime. I said it that night. I said, somebody texted me, and I said, the bad part of this, and he said the same thing. I think it was Robert Matthews who comes in here a lot. He said, the bad thing is I'm scared they're going to win every stat but one, and that's going to be the score. Mm-hmm. And it's the truth. I mean, that first half, the 49ers were dominating, but they just couldn't put the ball in the end zone. They had a turnover. McCaffrey fumbles and stops the drive. Penalty stopped one drive, and but then the touchdown, they get the trick play. They get a touchdown. It's 10-0, but then they let the Chiefs get down the field and cut it to 7 with a field goal before the half. And they have shut down Travis Kelce, 1 catch for 1 yard in the first half. So Taylor's up there she's already writing songs for a breakup album with Travis. So, what did you guys think at halftime? I've already told you my thoughts because I was like 10-3. That ain't going to be good enough to put the Chiefs away. What did you guys? We'll start with Matthew. What were you thinking at halftime? I know you were, unless you were out there dancing to Usher, trying to be the next Usher, and I don't even want to talk about Matthew trying to get out there and put on a halftime show like Usher. But
Yeah.
what were you thinking at halftime?
Halftime, I was thinking, like, man, this reminds me so much of 2019. When they played against when same game. I mean, it was the same score, I believe, at halftime. I'm like, man, what? This is just like 2019. But I was also thinking, like, yeah, San Francisco's up and they shutting them out, but it ain't over till the fat lady sings, and because you can't count out Patrick Mahomes. And
No.
I did it already one time by picking 49ers winning, and said, no, too much time.
Who are you Facebook user? Because you're bringing up some good point. Atlanta, they're already talking about they're bringing up 28-3, and guess who was there for that? Kyle Shanahan was there for that. So, Eric, what were you thinking at halftime?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, Patrick Mahomes threw an interception right before the first half ended, and they done the same thing like in 2019, where they Patrick Mahomes and all of them went and went in front of the camera, and I'm sitting there watching the game with my buddies, and I told them, I said that's gonna hurt. I said because last time they done that, they came back and won, and look what Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
3. I mean, this one score. I mean, it's the same thing with Tom Brady. You can't. Patrick Mahomes is like the next Tom Brady. You can't. If he's in the game, you can't take him out. I mean, until, like I said, the fourth quarter, all zeros on the clock.
Yeah.
He's got enough time. If it's 1 second on the clock, that's enough time for him to score.
Yep. So our Facebook user is I'm not going to call you that, Mr. I'm not going to call you. Robbie Birdsong is in here. He wants to be known as Mr. Birdsong. But we appreciate you chiming in. Yeah. I mean, like I said, and you guys both said, Matthew talking about flashback to 2019, Eric talking about everybody in that building, everybody watching at home had to be thinking the same thing we were. You're not going to be able to put them away up 10-3 and doing what you're doing. One of the strengths the 49ers had in the first half was the run game. I mean, they could run the ball. They were getting yards. And they come out the second half and forget totally about the run game. First 3 possessions of the second half, I don't even know if they ran the ball one time. 3 straight 3-and-outs. And they let Kansas City get back in the game. They let Kansas City get the lead. And then they start running the ball again. But it's too late. Once you let Mahomes and them get some momentum going, it's too late. And granted, they did come back and take the lead. But one of the things in the second half, just like in the first half when I said, oh, you that's not going to be good enough, when they scored to take the lead and still had a couple minutes left on the clock, I said, you left too much time on the clock. And I'm pretty sure you guys feel the same way as I do. But and it went to effect. All of a sudden, Kansas City made good adjustments at halftime. They were able to get Kelce free somehow. And but I'll tell you what, and I can't remember his name now. I've never seen an injury like the 49ers linebacker. And I think that had a lot that messed them up a lot. What was his name? The linebacker that was on the sidelines and was jumping up and down, get ready to walk out on the field.
Towards Achilles, yeah.
And towards Achilles, running out on the field. I mean, and he was a key part of that defense. And I mean, I don't think I don't think that people realize how much of a difference that makes. I think he had a lot to do with shutting down Kelce in the first half, and it showed after that. I mean, that defense was not the same. And yeah, Robbie Birdsong, you're talking about the blitzes on third down. Look, Kansas City, if you watch that, go back and watch that game. And I don't want to hear anything more about Brock Purdy cost them that game.
No.
Brock Purdy did not cost them that game. Brock Purdy played his butt off. I mean, you look at he had his stats were just as good, I think. I mean,
He had more touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes.
he didn't throw an interception. He didn't turn the ball over. I mean, I don't get what you people. They're still calling him a game manager. Let's see. Brock Purdy, 255 yards. 1 TD, no interception, 89.3 passer rating. Patrick Mahomes had 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Yeah, he still lost. I get it. How many quarterbacks have lost in the Super Bowl? Okay, whoever this is, if that's Birdsong out there, how many, whoever it is, I don't know if it's Birdsong, I don't know if it's Warden. How many Super Bowls did Jim Kelly lose? You gonna say he's a bad quarterback? I don't think so. I mean, Brock Purdy has come from Mr. Irrelevant to be the start quarterback in the Super Bowl. 49ers do not suck. They're going to probably be back in the Super Bowl again next year. So, I mean,
I'm calling this on before we even go any further.
I got you.
Kansas City Chiefs. Hate to say it, 3-peat champions.
I would not disagree with that. That may be the first ever 3-peat champion. Who was when it came? Hold on a second. I don't know if you're talking about Jim Kelly or not. He was when it counted. You're talking about he was a good quarterback when it counted. Whoever this is. Jim Kelly lost 4 Super Bowls. He did not play well in the only Super Bowl he played well in was the first one.
Yeah, that was against the Giants.
Yeah, the Giants Super Bowl with the wide right with Scott Norwood. So what are you talking about? He was when it counted. Who are you talking about? Make yourself clear. He wasn't when it counted. Well, get your stuff straight there. I'm just saying, Jim Kelly is a Hall of Fame quarterback and lost 4 Super Bowls. Brock Purdy, if you're going to put the blame on anybody, put it on the coaching staff. Yeah. Why do you go away? The play calling in the second half was not good. You go away from what you were doing in the first half. You have no clue that I could hear that coming. Birdsong, coaches don't play. Okay. Coaches put people in position to make the right plays. Believe me and Eric. I mean, you don't think we get blamed for a lot of crap out there? Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you can put the blame on everybody, but like you said, the same thing with this part of your job, like regular thing. You start at the top, like your supervisor.
The buck stops here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's why that's why I tell you all the time. Every time we look, like, what could have I done different?
I mean, I will tell you this. Brock Purdy was not calling the plays at the second half. Brock Purdy was not calling the plays in the first half. Kansas City's defense, I would say that. Kansas City's defense did step up the second half. The blitzes, whatever. The blitzes on third down. How many times did Kansas City blitz on third down in the second half? Every third down. And that last time when the 49ers kicked that field goal, they give Purdy a little more time. Somebody picks up that blitz. It's a touchdown. That guy had a touchdown. There was a guy wide open in the flats. He had a touchdown. But, Mahomes didn't impress me that much in that game, to tell you the truth. If I'm talking about, I like what this person right here said, I would have taken Brock Purdy as my quarterback that game. Play calling, Kansas City defense won that game.
I agree.
Kansas City defense. Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, dialed it up. And I'm telling you, when he put that, he was calling those blitzes on third down. San Francisco wasn't ready for it. I don't know why they weren't ready for it. They knew it was coming. After a while, you got to know what's coming. You got to call something to take care of that blitz. Call a screen or something like that. Take care of that blitz. But coaches don't. I like how they say coaches don't play. No, we don't play. But we've got to call the plays. I mean, I can see what you're saying, and I don't know who this is talking. I can see what you're saying about coaches don't play, but you got to put them in the right position and you got to make the right play calls, and you can't go away from what got you there. Ask Baltimore, ask the Ravens. You can't go away from what got you there the rest of the season. They sat at home with the Super Bowl because they did that. But yeah, I mean, great Super Bowl, one of the best Super Bowls I've ever watched.
Mm-hmm. It was the best second half in a Super Bowl I've seen in a long time.
I mean, going into overtime.
Yeah.
And you knew then when they went into overtime, I was like, this is not good for San Francisco. This is not good. But do what, Matt?
Did you see, man, I thought Kansas City really messed up, though, when that boy, I don't know what's his name, but he ran backwards. It was less than a minute left or whatever.
Yeah. Scantlin.
It was on third down, I think. Third down. And he ran backwards. I'm like, oh, my gosh. They just lost like 17 yards. There ain't no way. He's going to mess the game up. But I'm sure, here we go. Patrick Mahomes. Threw a good pass.
Who's this lady? Donna Bazemore. Who's this lady? I was hoping the 49ers was going to win. The quarterback doesn't get enough respect. Tell me about it. There you go.
I agree.
There you go. Talk about it, mama. All right. So, halftime show. What did you guys think of the halftime show? Because I'll tell you the honest to God truth. I was up here. I didn't see it.
You didn't watch it.
I
liked it.
It was good.
I loved it. I mean, that's who I grew up with. Usher, John, and guys like that.
Ludacris.
Yes, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed the halftime show. I mean, I enjoyed the beginning. I mean, like we talk all the time about Reba. I love Reba. She sang the national anthem. Like I said, and the game was good. Everything about the Super Bowl this year, to me, 10 out of 10.
I got you. Fix identification.
I'm right there with you, Eric. I mean, Reba did great. It was awesome. And then the game, and then halftime, it was good to see Ludacris. I mean, I like Ludacris a lot. And I don't listen to Usher every day, but not like Stevie does.
Dude,
I like Usher.
I could tell you maybe one Usher song, and that's a stretch. Usher, like Austin Powers says, that's not my kind of bag, baby. But yeah, nothing against Usher, but that's just not my kind of bag, baby. Robbie Birdsong is up here saying, fix identification on your Facebook. I make good points. No, you've got to fix that, dude, not me. You have to give them permission to put you up there, not me. So, yeah, they went away from McCaffrey. That was the bottom line. And let me tell you something. If you look at McCaffrey in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, that dude is a warrior. I said it that night. McCaffrey is a warrior. And he was trying his best to single-handedly keep the 49ers from losing that game.
Well, I want to get my point across on this.
Uh-oh.
I personally believe McCaffrey, even though I know how the rules go, McCaffrey still should have won the MVP of that game. But I think the biggest thing that hurt him that game, and some people still don't talk about it. As a coach, it's like, I know, Reno, anytime you turn the ball over, it hurts.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not still talking about, well, he fumbled the ball when they were on that good drive, that first drive, when he fumbled the ball in the first quarter.
Oh, yeah.
That hurt. But I said,
if you going to go to that, okay. Mahomes threw an interception.
Right.
You turned the ball over. So, I mean, either way, I mean, did that stop momentum? Yeah, that hurt. Because if they're up 17-3 at the half, or even 13-3 at the half, I think that's a different ball game. You got 2 scores ahead of them at the half, then I think that's a different ball game come second half. I think they're a little bit more on the edge. Of course, Andy Reid. What can you say about Andy Reid? Probably. I mean, I'm not going to do like this media does. Every time a freaking coach that's been around longer than 10 years wins a Super Bowl, and I mean, granted, Andy Reid's won more than one, but every time a coach that's been around more than 10 years wins a Super Bowl, they want to put all this praise on him, talking about he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. Look, Andy Reid, yeah. I'm not going to say he's the greatest coach of all time. Y'all were so quick in the media to say Belichick when they first started. Belichick, look what Belichick ends up with after Brady leaves. I mean, you're not praising Belichick too much anymore. But come on, guys. Let's not be too quick, because Mahomes, do I consider him one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? He's probably in the top 6 or 7 for me. I won't say he's the top. He's still got a ways to prove to me. And I will tell you this, as bad as it hurts me to say it, to come out of my mouth, I'll put Brady number 1.
I agree.
Brady is number 1. I mean, Mahomes is not better than Brady. I'm sorry. Mahomes is not. There's a couple of them I can think of that Mahomes is not better than. Mahomes is not better than Joe Montana.
No, he's not. But somebody was talking about earlier. We're talking about Jim Kelly. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl neither, and he was still considered top 5, or like you said, top 5, top 10 quarterbacks of all time. And
he can't
won a Super Bowl.
And he got there. He got to 1, and I remember him saying, because he got to a Super Bowl his second year in the league. And he always said that when he retired, he said, after we lost that game, I was like, I'm not worried about it. There'll be plenty more of these to come. He never made it back again. Never made it to another Super Bowl. So, I'm like, you can't. You want to talk about how great a quarterback he is because he won the big game. That factors in a lot, but that doesn't mean. I mean, Drew Brees, he won 1 Super Bowl, right? How many did Peyton? Peyton won 2, right? Lost 2. So, I mean, just because they didn't win, and who in the blue hell, excuse my language, thought that Brock Purdy, when they drafted him, Mr. Irrelevant, would be the starting quarterback in the Super Bowl a couple years later? Who thought it?
Nobody.
He
was the last person to be drafted, because not even the teams thought it. I mean, maybe the 49ers.
There's a reason why they got rid of Garoppolo.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, Garoppolo can't walk down the street now without getting hurt. But I mean, Purdy outplayed Garoppolo. And everybody can say, oh, well, he benefited from the system. Yeah, he benefited from the system. That's what quarterbacks do. You don't look at. We just talked, and we're going to get ready to talk about this guy. Look at Russell Wilson. He played in that Seattle system, and he benefited. He got a Super Bowl out of it. He goes to another system in Denver, not so great. It took him a while. I mean, he came on a little bit at the end of the year, but granted, he's got some age on him, but you can't. Look at this. I got to see Eric's face on this. Then this is coming from a Cowboy fan. Purdy to Dallas, please.
If you're asking me, go ahead and ask me the question I think you're about to ask me, and I'll tell you my opinion.
All right. So now let's get past the Super Bowl. We're going to go. Look at my dog trying to get in the other room. He's trying to get away from here before I light somebody up. Or she is. Free agency is out there. There's a lot of moves being made, and we're getting ready to talk about some. But there's one being talked about, and the owner is kind of back and forth on this. Oh, good old Jerry. Good old Jerry with his paternity test. He's back and forth on this. 1 minute he's saying, "I think Dak is the answer. I think Dak can still take us to the Super Bowl." Then the next week he's like, "Well, don't be surprised if we don't give him. We may not give him that extension that y'all were talking about." So, as a Cowboy fan, and I know Robbie Birdsong, you're a Cowboy fan, and he was the one that put Purdy to Dallas, please. What do you think, Eric Sawyer, going into this next year, the Cowboys need to look in the future as a quarterback?
I said it before. It's Trey Lance to answer. Dallas Brayton's Trey Lance in. I think they signed him, if I'm not mistaken, they signed him again. But I think what Birdsong was talking about, and I'll get back to where I was going. Would I take Purdy over Prescott? Yes, because Purdy took his team to a Super Bowl, and Prescott, he's going to his 9th year. He's not even brought us to an NFC Championship game.
And he was stiffed it.
Yeah, and it's like people say, people still mess with me to today, and it's the truth. When Dallas played Green Bay, it was not even close. They came in there and flat out dominated Dallas in Dallas. And that was horrible.
Because
Jordan Love even looked better than Dak Prescott.
Yes, he did. 100%.
And that says a lot. Jordan's a lot. Jordan, 3 or 4 years? Or is he older than that?
Second or third year, I think. Maybe his third year.
Okay.
He sat behind Rodgers for a while, so maybe it's third year.
Yeah. Anyway, but that says a lot. Dak Prescott been in there 9-10 years, and shoot, look at the difference look at their stats, Jordan Love and Dak Prescott in that game.
Look at that quote right there from Robbie Wilson. "I'll take game manager in a heartbeat." Because what Birdsong is saying, game managers don't turn the ball over. Dak, yeah, like we said it all when we covered the playoffs. Dak put up, everybody's like, "Oh, he put up over 400 yards. He threw 3 touchdowns." He did it in garbage time.
Yep.
When the game was on the line, Dak didn't show up. And this is not just like a one-time thing. This has been happening every year. Dak puts up great numbers during the regular season, and all of a sudden, playoffs, Dak doesn't show up. And I want to say, and I may be wrong. Let me get this out before I forget it, because I'm old. I want to say there was a lot of talk after that Green Bay game. You saw a lot of jawing back and forth between CeeDee Lamb and Dak on the field during that game, right?
Correct.
There was a lot of talk that Dak was, I don't know, his nerves had got to him. His timing was off because Lamb, you look at Lamb is going back to the huddle almost every play and looking at him like, "I'm open." There were times when he was open and Dak didn't see him or didn't get the ball there at time. So I would say this: if I'm a Dallas fan, if you want a flashy quarterback during the regular season, then stick with Dak. Give him that extension. Give me a like Birdsong. Give me a game manager that puts up 250 yards passing, maybe throws a couple of touchdowns that doesn't turn the ball over, and my running game is benefiting for the play action. He's able to do play action because my running game is benefiting from that. Yeah, this is a good one. His numbers are padded because of defeats. When did second string play? Very rarely did you see what's his name? What's your backup quarterback? Rush?
Yeah, Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. Very rarely did you see Cooper Rush get in. I think he did get in one game, but you know what? That was the Washington game that I saw him play. I didn't even see him play against San Francisco when San Francisco wiped the floor with Dallas.
42-10.
Dak stayed in there. I won't say the whole game. But yeah, stats are one thing. I mean, but you got to win in the big game, dude, too. And I know
And
people are saying right now, you just said Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy managed that game. Brock Purdy did not lose that game. He didn't turn the ball over. Dak, in that Green Bay game, Dak should have had at least two more interceptions he threw. That touchdown they scored before halftime against Green Bay should have never happened, because if that guy linebacker from Green Bay had any hands, he would have picked that pass up that went right in his hands. But
And
I mean,
speaking of game managers, like 9 times out of 10, when you play in a big game like that, like in a divisional championship or the Super Bowl, it's going to come down to the turnovers.
Oh yeah,
And that's why game managers are so, your game manager quarterbacks are so great in games like these. I mean, look at Brock Purdy. He's a game manager, and he didn't. I mean, they almost won. But that don't really prove my point. But
Well, let's talk game managers for a little bit.
okay.
Let's talk about, if not the luckiest man to ever win a Super Bowl, and I know you about to hate this one, Reno. Trent Dilfer wins one with the 2000 Ravens.
Oh, good Lord.
And their offense was horrendous.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you what a game manager quarterback has 99% of the time that Dallas did not have last year.
What's that?
Most teams have a good run game. Not even just you have a great run game. So that plays in the part of your defense, because you're taking time off the clock, giving your defense a break. It don't matter if you win 10-3 or 10-7. A W is
Yeah, I agree.
I don't care if Dallas every year, Prescott in the regular season is putting up 35, 40. I mean, Cowboys number one in offense. But we get to the playoffs and we can't even. I mean, like I said, we're not even there. I mean, we're at a home game. We're not even playing. You better off me, you, and Matthew out there playing for them than the Cowboys themselves.
But do you remember? You talk about Trent Dilfer. Here's a little fact. I want to ask. Matthew may not know it, because Matthew's a little bit younger than us. Trent Dilfer was not the starting quarterback to start that year. He was not who was supposed to be the one that took the Ravens to the Super Bowl. Do you remember who the starting quarterback was to start the season that year?
Hold on. I can't remember, but
don't Google it.
I know for a fact that before Dilfer got there, they went 7 or 8 weeks in a row. They didn't even score a touchdown.
You're right.
God, I cannot remember.
I'll go ahead and let you off the hook. Tony Banks.
Yep, that's it.
Tony Banks was supposed to be. Number 12. Yeah, he came over. He was supposed to be the guy to take him to the Super Bowl. That defense was freaking awesome. And like you said, I remember Pittsburgh beating them that year, and the final score, I think, was like 9-6. It was nothing but field goals. Baltimore went a stretch where they did nothing but no touchdowns. I mean, defense would put them in position, but they wouldn't score a touchdown. But then, Dilfer comes in, and the offense. And Dilfer, let me tell you, Dilfer came out of college. He was a high draft pick. Went to Tampa Bay. Never did anything with Tampa Bay, and was released. And Baltimore picked him up. But and this kills me, and you Ravens fans out there, I'm going to rub it in on you so bad, because y'all were so stupid that year. You got this guy that just got you on a run to the playoffs, got you a Super Bowl. Granted, the defense was freaking awesome. You had a freaking murderer right there playing. I mean, he was killing it. No pun intended.
Yeah.
You get rid of Trent Dilfer and sign Elvis Grbac. Now, granted, at the time, Elvis Grbac was a really good quarterback. And everybody was like, that's it. They're going back to back. Guess what? When you do stuff like that, that don't always mean you're gonna win. They struggled. They didn't even win the division that year. You know how I know? Because we won the division that year. We beat them in the playoffs. They did not make it. Elvis Grbac struggled in that system. So, yeah, he was a good quarterback where he was at before. And I think it was Kansas City. I may be wrong. But he did not fit in at Baltimore. So you got Trent Dilfer there had took you to the Super Bowl. Guided. I mean, granted, you had Jamal Lewis running the ball. But Trent Dilfer managed that team. Just like you said, he managed that team. And guess what? I guarantee you, if I look it up, Elvis Grbac that year threw double-digit interceptions that year. And I'm going to look up his stats right now. And Elvis left the building that time. Let's see.
Well, I'm glad you said something about Jamal Lewis.
Yeah.
Jamal,
Oh gosh, it's like a
he was
bowling ball.
He was a dog, buddy. That he could flat out. That one of the most underrated running back. People don't really talk about him, but he was a dog, buddy.
So Grbac, the games he started that year, he started 14 games that year. They were 8-6 in games he started. He threw 15 touchdowns, 18 interceptions.
Good God.
The year before in Kansas City, he threw 28 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. So yeah, he started off in San Francisco, was going to be the heir apparent to Steve Young and Joe Montana, but yeah, I mean, he was at first, when he came over there, I remember I was like, oh gosh, this is gonna be bad. But after watching him play in Baltimore for a few weeks, I was like, we can take care of him, and we did. I mean, everybody did. But yeah, it just because these flashing numbers. And look, we'll get into it when we talk about free agency in a minute. Some of these quarterbacks, everybody's saying Justin Fields, he gets in a new system or new change of scenery, he's going to be all right. I don't see it. Everybody said before the season started last year, this is going to be his year. He's going to be an MVP candidate this year. He was far from it. And I know it's Chicago, but I just don't see it. I don't see what the big – I know Pittsburgh has been linked to him for a while, and I hope they stay away from it. It may come back and bite me in the ass, excuse my language, but I don't want to see Justin Fields in Pittsburgh. Send him to Dallas.
Well, to me, if me and you got opposite opinions on Fields, do I feel like he's an MVP candidate? No. But do I feel like he's a good quarterback? Yes, I feel like he's a really good quarterback.
Oh, I agree that. But look,
he plays in a bad system.
Donnie Mullen, I'm glad you said that. Because I saw that about a week after the Super Bowl, and that right there, their stats, I don't know if you've looked at their stats from last year. Their stats are about identical. And it just flabbergasted me because you got the best running back in football playing quarterback in Baltimore. And I'll say it to anybody, the guy, and that's another one. That's the Dak of the AFC right there. Flashy numbers. He puts them up during the regular season. And I said it. I said it on the show. I said it to anybody that was out there that want to listen. The Ravens fans that would talk to me about it. Y'all keep on winning now. That's fine. Y'all winning in the regular season. But let me see what you do in the playoffs. Oh, we got home field advantage. I said, do you remember the last time you had home field advantage? Let's flash back to 2019 again. That season be coming up a lot. 2019, same thing, same situation. Lamar is the MVP, about to be the MVP, excuse me. Home field advantage. Guess what happened? They got knocked out. And granted, it was divisional round. They got knocked out. I think it was Buffalo got them. I mean, go ahead, Eric. What you say?
What I was thinking, well, Me and Donnie Mullen only agree really on Carolina basketball because in football, he likes the Philadelphia Eagles. But I will agree with you 100% on this one, Donnie. It's no way Lamar Jackson should have won that MVP. It should have been either McCaffrey or Tyreek Hill. Just the same thing people were talking about Prescott winning it.
No.
He shouldn't win it. He shouldn't even. I mean, I ain't saying at one point he should have been in the conversation. But when Lamar Jackson won it, it shocked me. I was like,
it didn't shock me because they had been talking about it for so many weeks. I mean, because he made a long run in one game, and I was like, they were like, oh, he just sealed it right then. He's the MVP. I'm like, there's a lot of people that broke a long run. I mean, McCaffrey, that's just like, and I mean, I know I'm gonna be called a homer for this. You want to talk about comparing stats? Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. Compare his stats to not only T.J. Watts, but compare his stats to Michael Parsons. They don't even come close. And your boy Micah, I don't know who all of a sudden made him think he's LeBron, that he can talk to anybody. Whatever he says is God in the NFL now. But he's up there talking about, well, he gets double teamed and hit by a tight end every play. There's been several plays I've watched T.J. Watt get triple teamed. There was one play where he had 3 guys on him and one guy wrapped around his neck, but he still does it. And, call me a homer or whatever. I wouldn't have minded if Micah had got it because Micah was dominant except for the playoff game. He disappeared, but Micah gets it. I'm fine. Myles Garrett, though, when it's a lot of the stats up there aren't even close. Some of them are doubled in Micah or TJ's advantage. And they were saying no brainer. It's give me a break. I'm glad I'm not, as much as I would love to be a part of sports media, I'm glad I'm not because I don't know what these people are thinking, what kind of Kool-Aid y'all were drinking up there with your award stuff. But
and as far as with Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, it's been like that for a few years now to where his name is trademarked very high. Excuse me. Very high. And I don't know why.
Well,
I know he's a good player, but he ain't better. He ain't been playing better than these guys you named just a second ago. T.J. Watt and Micah Parsons, and there's so many others that's gotten that's so much better than him.
Well, I didn't agree with Lamar getting MVP, and it's not because he's a Raven. And I didn't agree with Myles Garrett getting Defensive Player of the Year. So you come at me if you want to, argue me if you want to, but I don't think. I honestly think, did they pick the MVP before the playoffs?
Yeah, they do it right before the Super Bowl.
Leroy Jenkins wasn't a bad player either. I know who that is. That's my buddy. Y'all know who Leroy Jenkins is, don't you?
What?
You don't remember Leroy Jenkins?
Leroy Jenkins.
You don't remember Leroy Jenkins? Matthew, do you remember Leroy Jenkins?
No, but I've heard some stuff. I've heard. I don't remember him. I've heard people talk about him.
Okay. He was
Leroy Jenkins. All right.
Matthew knows who I'm talking about. Look, there was I'm going to tell y'all this story, then we'll move on. My buddy here, there was a radio call-in show, sports show. Yeah. that Eric, Leroy Jenkins is, if you go on YouTube, one of these games that they play where, like, I don't know, like, it's not like Fortnite. It was for that, like World of Warcraft or something like that. Right. These guys are in a group and they're talking between each other. They get ready to raid a place, and these guys are like, they're like geeking out on this stuff. They're like, even one guy's, they were like, okay, if we do this, what's the rate of fatality for us? And the guy's like, oh, let me let me type it in right now. And he's like, oh, it's 45% fatality. And all of a sudden you hear this one guy, I don't know, Leroy Jenkins, and he goes
Yeah.
in there, and they are like ticked off with him because he goes in there and messes up the whole thing. Well, my buddy here, Robert, he did this calling show with Phil Steele, and Phil Steele is like one of the experts of the draft and all this, the football expert, been around for years. And Robert said, "What do you think about Leroy Jenkins?" And Robert, correct me if I'm wrong. You said, right? He said he was a top draft pick, right? He was going to be up there at the top of the draft. So that goes to show you how much Phil Steele pays attention. Leroy Jenkins was going to be a number one pick in the draft, up there near the top. So
I'll tell you another guy who I think is a joke and might, excuse my language, piss some people off. I think he knows a little bit, but freaking Lord forgive me, Mel Kiper Jr.
Who the hell is Mel Kiper?
Good God Almighty, that dude is. I don't know what goes on with him sometimes. Like some of the things he says is like, are you even really analyzing these players, or are you just hearing hearsay?
Dude, I've been watching him for a while, and ever since that time with the Colts owner when he said, "Who the hell is that?" Because look, I don't care how much you dissect it. You look at all the stats, do this and that and other. Let's go back. Brock Purdy. Where was Mel Kiper about Brock Purdy?
Wrong.
He said
Wrong. Yeah.
He said Jamarcus Russell was going to be good. He said
exactly. You go back and watch. If you go back and watch the first round of every draft, and listen to, how many guys that didn't make it or that were, Ryan Leaf. I don't know what he's thought about Ryan Leaf, but that's another show we can do as far as draft letdowns. But you go back and look at that and listen to what Mel Kiper says about some of these guys that didn't make it. And that'll make you think, because it's so hard. It's so hard to tell what these guys are going to do when they get to the next level. College is one thing. You could be a great college player and be a terrible pro. You can be a so-so college player and be a great NFL player. It all depends on that. Same thing goes with basketball. Same thing. You go to that next level, it's different. What were you going to say, Eric?
I do know one time he said, in the same draft of Patrick Mahomes, all the quarterbacks were going to be very good, but where are they at now? Other than Patrick Mahomes. I don't know. I don't even remember any names that was in the same draft.
Like you said earlier, especially these quarterbacks, it goes to the system. You got people drafting like you talking about, like a Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, let's be honest, he went to the right system. Say if he went to a system that made him drop back and pass all the time, Lamar probably wouldn't be in the league today.
Good Lord. Somebody brought this name. I hadn't heard this name up in a long time. Todd Marinovich. And the spelling is off. I don't know if that's you, Robert. Todd Marinovich. Let me tell you, I don't know if you guys, and I know this is way before y'all's time. Todd Marinovich came out of USC.
Uh-huh.
Big, tall, redheaded dude. He was a surfer boy. And at USC, boy, he was lighting it up. He was freaking awesome. He gets drafted. I want to say the Raiders drafted him. No. Another guy, and whoever that is, another guy you can talk about too around that same time, Dan McGuire. Seattle drafted him. Didn't work out for him. Didn't work out too well. Look, I looked up 10 times Mel Kiper was wrong. Kajana Carter. Kiper compared Kajana Carter, he was a running back, picked first overall pick in 1995 draft out of Penn State. Mel Kiper compared him to Bo Jackson.
Good God.
Drafted by the Bengals, tore his ACL in his first preseason game. and after that, it was just downhill from that. He criticized the Patriots for trading for Wes Welker in 2007. Yeah, that didn't work out, and Wes Welker was not drafted. He was undrafted. Led the league in receptions his first year in New England. So let's see, Jimmy Clausen, remember him? Carolina drafted him.
Yep, quarterback.
Kiper, listen to this now. Mel Kiper said he would retire if Jimmy Clausen didn't become a star. So where's his retirement papers at?
Let's call him up.
Yeah, let's call him up. Mel, where you at, Mel? Russell Wilson, drafted by the Seahawks in the 3rd round. Mel Kiper questioned his size, said he was too small. Okay, that didn't work either. Richard Sherman, drafted in the 5th round by Seattle. Mel Kiper gave him a D+ on his draft grade. Let's see. Mike Williams, wide receiver for the Lions, 10th overall pick. Mel Kiper said he was definitely a Hall of Fame receiver. Only two seasons. Played in it 5 seasons with 4 teams. 2 seasons with the Lions. 5. He didn't work. You ever heard of this guy, Aaron Curry? Ever heard of him?
He was yeah.
1st round pick by the Seahawks, 2009. One of Kiper's highest rated 2009 prospects. 5.5 career sacks, and played 48 games before he retired. Jamarcus Russell, there's your guy.
Freaking bum.
His biggest draft bust ever. He compared him to John Elway.
That dude, Jamarcus Russell, he has ruined so many people now, like drafting quarterbacks, because Jamarcus Russell ruined a lot of people drafting like that style of quarterback, because you're scared to death of what you.
Keep talking here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But I don't know, Matthew. I was thinking about earlier what you were talking about, the greatest second half Super Bowl. I'm surprised you didn't say nothing about the Giants when David Tyree caught that ball on his head.
Well, I mean, that's been a long time ago.
Okay, here's another one. I'm sorry, I'm back. I know you've never heard of this guy. You ever heard of Ricky Stanzi?
Ricky Stanzi. Is it Stanzi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard I was watching something on NFL Network. They were talking about, I think that's one of the top 10 NFL draft busts. I think they got one of them.
5th round selection by Kansas City in 2011. Kiper compared him to Tom Brady.
Wow.
He never ended up being a starter in an NFL game. All right, then the number 1, they said Andre Wadsworth, drafted 3rd overall by Arizona in 1998, ahead of Charles Woodson. Kiper had him number 1 overall player in 1998, ahead of Peyton Manning. He only recorded 8.5 career sacks. So now that we've got our Mel Kiper bashing over with,
and I wanted to say something about the system. We were talking about quarterbacks and the systems. Eric said something. It's important. The system's very important. A good example right now. People thought Baker Mayfield was a bust. They talked so much smack about him. But now look where he come to the Buccaneers, and they made the playoffs.
Well, let me just fill you in on one little thing about Baker Mayfield. Who did he play for? Who was he drafted by?
Cleveland.
Yep.
I said there. They could screw up a 2-car funeral.
Yep.
And they have. Cleveland fans, you kill me. And I've went on this rant before. You kill me about a guy that took you to the playoffs for the first time in God knows how long, got you on the verge of upset Kansas City in the playoffs one year. I mean, they were that close to beating Kansas City that year. I don't know if y'all remember that when Mahomes got hurt.
Yeah, they had Odell. That's the year they had Odell and Jarvis Landry on him.
Yeah, so Cleveland, he was that close. Then the next year he comes out, messes his shoulder up. He plays the whole year with a messed up shoulder that's in a harness. It's not his throwing shoulder, but you think about it. This guy's out there throwing with his shoulder. His shoulder is like every time he throws, he's feeling that in the shoulder, and he's getting down there and he's taking off running. And I mean, you got to know that that's gonna mess up your accuracy a little bit when one of your shoulders is messed up as a quarterback. I don't care which one it is, but yeah, after one year of struggling, get him out of here. Why don't y'all just go draft Johnny Manziel again, like a bunch of idiots y'all were back then? I mean, I just don't get you, Cleveland. Yeah, and y'all do something to screw what y'all got going on now up too.
And that they got a lot to explain about. What's his name, Mr. Massage, Mr. Massage guy.
Yes, that contract that he got was flat out ridiculous. After he just got all them charges, I was like, I wouldn't have signed Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson's a good quarterback, but not the money that he got.
People say that the Daniel Jones contract was the worst in NFL history, but it might be in Giants franchise history. But to me, I think the Russell Wilson one's worse. But what's worse than that one that Denver did with Russell is Deshaun Watson.
You just took away. I mean, I'll say how long, and people, I know it's a business, and I know they get paid. It's just like it's their job, but I'm sure it's changed. I'm sure it's all about the money for some of these guys. But don't you want to win a Super Bowl? Ain't that the goal when you play in the NFL is to win a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me you're going to want to get paid all this money as a quarterback and mess up your salary cap around you where you can't get a weapon or two around you that will help you win that Super Bowl? I mean, how much is he getting paid, by the way? Let me see how much that Joker got paid after
200.
After sitting a whole year off.
But that's
over 150 million.
Oh, it's over 150. I know that. Okay.
200.
Signed a 5-year contract worth $230 million.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Stupid.
So you're going to tell me you're making just let's see, 5. It's a little over $40 million a year. What are you gonna do with $40 million a year? I mean, I could do.
I could find something, but
I mean, give me $1 million. I could do something with it. I mean,
all right.
But
if I'm getting paid that much, I'd want to do something. I'd want to prove myself with it too. You know what I mean?
And then him coming out saying, when they cleared him to play this year after he was injured, they cleared him to play, and then say, well, I don't feel like I'm able to play. If I'm paying you $230 million, if you get cleared, your ass better get back out there on the field.
Damn right.
You better get out there, but I'm paying you millions.
Exactly. I mean, I ain't paying you to carry that much money to carry a clipboard. And he didn't even do that on the sidelines.
Like you said earlier, you talking about Baker Mayfield. You don't see guys doing that anymore. You don't see guys wanting to play hurt anymore.
No.
If you think you're the difference of making it to the Super Bowl and you won't play, Stevie, because you got freaking turf toe, I'm sorry. You better check between your legs, buddy, because it's time to saddle up because we need you.
Time to grow a set.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Good God.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, it's Cleveland, and sorry, Cleveland Brown fans out there. If there's any of you out there, your history it repeats itself. I think, and before long. All right,
that is the worst contract in NFL history. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what's going on around the NFL right now. So we just talked. We're talking about free agency. The Bears, who had franchised Jalen Johnson last week, signed him to a 4-year deal worth $76 million. I think he might be playing. He might not be sitting on the sidelines. The Saints re-signed Tyrann Mathieu to a 2-year deal, $13 million. He's coming he's got to be getting near the end of his career. He's been around a while, but I think he still can do something. The Broncos released their All-Pro safety Justin Simmons. I'm sure that was a cap move because that saved $14.5 million as cap move. That could be somebody out there that somebody that people could pick up, be a big key to somebody's secondary, and hopefully maybe Pittsburgh will look at him.
Team would be good for
Yeah.
him. Every team needs it, like anybody good in the secondary, especially somebody like a Justin Simmons type player.
A good safety is hard to find.
What's the guy's name from Seattle? They just cut him. The safety. It came over from the Jets.
God almighty. Number Adams. Jamal Adams.
Oh, Adam, they just cut him.
Dang.
And then you look at the Bills. The Bills cut just about their whole secondary the other day. Tre'Davious White is gone. Jordan Poyer is gone. Micah Hyde is gone. So, I mean, they've got Taylor Rapp there, but that's a lot. I mean, they were in a bad cap situation, and some of it. I think Poyer, was it Poyer, or might be end up retiring with the injuries he's had. I know he's been banged up a little bit, but big story coming out now. Russell Wilson is going to be cut, and from what I'm seeing up here on the score.com, the Steelers are interested in signing Russell Wilson. Now, also, Eric said he saw on NFL Network the Giants also in the mix. But here's my thing. Bring him in. I think, if I'm wrong, I may be wrong, that whoever gets him, the Broncos are responsible for a big chunk of his salary. But I'd say bring him in. He let him and Pickett battle it out. Maybe Wilson will fit in with the system. He's got some weapons. Maybe he'll fit in with the system. Maybe not. But I mean, I'll take a chance with it. Matthew, what do you think? I mean, Matthew, you guys just signed Daniel Jones to this big contract.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about bringing Russell Wilson in?
Y'all can have him. Y'all can have him because we have a lot of more things to fix before we want to think about signing another quarterback that's going to have a lot of money.
Let's talk a little bit about that because franchise tag has come and gone, and Saquon did not get the franchise tag, so it looks like Saquon's days in New York are gone. What do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
Come to Dallas.
It hurts. No, I hope not. Good Lord, I hope not. But I hate to see it, but at the same time, I'm kind of, if he does move on to somewhere else, I'm kind of happy for him because I don't know why he would want to stay there. The Giants have not given him any opportunity to become that Barry Sanders running back that he wanted to be. There's too many other things that's broken, and it's holding him back from getting what he deserves. Now, at the same time, we have two players right now that want a lot of money that I don't think we could pay for. We ain't got the cap space for.
Right.
Saquon Barkley and Xavier McKinney.
Right.
Both of them are great key players, one on offense, one on defense. Xavier McKinney is probably one of the best safety DBs. I mean, he can do it all on that end of the ball. But we can't. It looks like we can't even pay him. I would at least franchise tag him if we didn't do Saquon Barkley.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Last year, the Giants give Daniel Jones this big contract.
Yeah.
but you know this is coming. You're losing two of your big weapons because you might not have the cap space to pay either one of them. Um, I mean, I know it's a business. It's more of a business now than it ever was. NFL, all sports. There's not a sport. There's no sports out there that is not about business now. And,
About money.
but, you know,
And you've heard a lot of, and I feel like, okay, there's been talk about, Saquon Barkley, yeah, he's in free agency, but we're also looking at Josh Jacobs. But I don't know about that either, because I mean, if you think getting rid of Saquon Barkley is going to help, what do you think? If Saquon Barkley couldn't, help us win games and be a successful team, what makes you think Josh Jacobs will?
Well, my thing is,
he'll want just as much money.
That's what I'm saying. How are you going to pay Josh Jacobs? Josh Jacobs will want just as much money as Saquon.
Indeed, and so I don't get it. So, I mean, with the McKinney and Saquon, now there's something called a transfer tag too. They could have done. They didn't do that either. And they could have tagged Saquon Barkley again. I think you got maximum of 2 times the franchise tag. I believe.
This is what I think about the Giants, and I think about the Commanders. Hopefully, turn back into the Redskins. Matthew earlier, and it is the truth. If I was Washington and I was the New York Giants, I would draft nobody but offensive linemen. I mean, and every pick that I got, one of them's got to turn out all right.
One of them's got. You're right. You're exactly right. And I feel like, you better pick up some guys in free agency. Hell, that's a lot of people available in free agency that can fix your secondary and your offensive line.
All right.
There's some people coming up in the draft that you can pick. You better get as many as you can, because that's not doing that is not gonna help your quarterback situation at all. I don't care if you get Tom Brady back there. Tom Brady always had somebody to protect him.
That's right.
Now, did he not?
He did.
He had people you couldn't lay a finger on Tom Brady everywhere he went, just about.
Speaking of free agency, I'm looking at Yahoo.com sports, the top 25 free agents out there right now. And you guys stop me if there's one that you think your team could benefit from. Matthew, probably all of these for you.
I would say 26 of them.
Miami Dolphins quarterback Xavier Howard. He's 30 years old. Wasn't the greatest season last year. It was cut by the Dolphins, but who knows? Change of scenery might help him. Miami Dolphins linebacker Jerome Baker.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would be we need a linebacker. We need a middle linebacker. Patriots offensive tackle, and I'm gonna butcher this name, Mike Onwenu. I just butchered that name. But there's one thing about it. If I knew his name too well as an offensive lineman, that means he's getting a lot of holding calls or something like that on him if I know his name.
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens linebacker Patrick Queen.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
I was gonna say I'll take him.
Yeah. Tennessee Titans running back Derrick Henry.
I want him or Barkley. I really do. I want him or
Barkley. Like him, but he wants a lot of money, and he's up there in age.
He's 30 now. He's 30.
He's 30. He's older than Saquon Barkley.
But he don't have the injuries that Saquon has.
That's true. That is true.
The only thing, what I was talking about, when we talk about Henry, do I think Henry is a better running back than Barkley? Yes. But you can't use Henry like you use Barkley. Like I said,
they use him every freaking
Barkley, put Barkley in the slot. I'm not saying you can't do it with Henry, but Barkley and stuff is more of a weapon out there than Derrick Henry is going to be, such as like speed and stuff like that. But if I want to pound it in running back or overall running back, yes, you want Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
All right, here's one for you, Eric. Dallas Cowboys running back Tony Pollard.
He said it. I saw it on Dallas Cowboys thing today. He said he will stay with the Dallas Cowboys for less money. I don't know how much less money he was, but he said he wants Dallas.
That's the
And I
key.
don't think Pollard's a bad player. I thought he was going to be better than what he is, but I don't
Yeah.
think he's a bad player at all.
He didn't. Dallas tried to make him an every down back. And
Yep.
this is coming from a fan of myself. I thought he could. I thought if he put on 5 to 10 pounds of muscle, I said Pollard will beat him because he's got the speed to do it. He's got the hands to do it. I thought he could be like a Barkley type player, but he still cannot run between the tackles that good.
This is what they said about Pollard. Pollard got a shot by the Cowboys' unquestioned top back and wasn't great, barely breaking 1,000 yards. But as part of a committee, he was electric. So there you go. As long as Pollard's new team doesn't overextend his role, he can be a strong contributor.
Yeah.
All right, up next, you talked about him a little earlier. Raiders running back Josh Jacobs. Matthew wants some of him.
I'll take him, but it's no need to take him if what's the point in getting rid of Barkley if you want Josh Jacobs? For the same reason.
Here's one you probably be interested in: Patriots offensive tackle Trent Brown.
All offensive lineman Matthew better be interested.
Yeah,
yeah. I know, right? All from now on this list. From now on, offensive lineman, offensive tackle. I want him.
I take Trent Brown. I take Trent Brown at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Broncos safety Justin Simmons. We talked about him earlier.
Yeah, I think all of us will have him on our team.
Here's another offensive lineman, Tyron Smith.
Tyron Smith he's getting up there in age, but
33.
I'll pass.
Durability is a major concern, is what they say.
Yep, it
Durability.
is.
Yeah.
Then you got Jaguars wide receiver Calvin Ridley.
I'm good.
Hey, that's a betting man.
I was waiting for that. You always bet on Calvin Ridley, boy. That was cold. That was cold. Cold-blooded. Yeah. Cardinals wide receiver Marquise Brown.
He's all right. Well, I would rather.
He shouldn't have left. He should have left and went to Arizona. That was a. He's only 27.
All right.
When did he go to Arizona?
A couple years ago.
Okay.
Couple years ago. So this one is an update. Kevin Dotson from the Rams. He's already agreed to a 3-year, $48 million deal with the Rams to stay with the Rams. He was at Pittsburgh. So then we got Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson. So we've already talked about Russell. Next up, guess who? We talked about this guy too earlier. Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield.
Ooh.
Tampa Bay would be foolish to let this guy go. And even the Yahoo saying it seems inevitable he returns to the Buccaneers. If things don't work out there, he would definitely have interest elsewhere. Yeah, I would think so. He's only 29. Believe me, he's only 29.
You know what system I think he would fit good in?
What's that?
The Minnesotas.
Well, that's good. Coach gone.
Fit really good in Minnesota.
Next up, Saquon Barkley.
Dallas Cowboy.
Man, that hurts.
They're just talking about the injuries. And then right after him, double whammy, Xavier McKinney.
That hurts.
Only 24.
X Factor. He's 24 years old, man. And he's electric when he's on. He can do everything.
Coming off a strong 2023 season, and they say he'll get a nice deal wherever he goes.
He will. He should.
Houston, Texas, the edge rusher Jonathan Greenard. I don't know much about this guy.
I don't know him. No,
12 and a half sacks. He had 12 and a half sacks last year. So 27 years old. Washington Commanders cornerback Kendall Fuller.
And all the Washington corners are freaking trash. Forbes, dude, I thought he was going to be all right. And not saying he might not be all right. Maybe he's not in the right system. But he's got the body and everything to be a great player. I just, like I said, this was his first year. You can't – personally, I don't like to judge players off their first year.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I think that Forbes guy can be all right. I put it that way. But Kendall Fuller, trash.
Jets edge rusher Bryce Huff.
I don't know him.
He had 10 sacks last year. Listen to this. His pass rush win rate via Pro Football Focus, who is a joke, by the way. Pro Football Focus is a joke.
Yeah.
Third in the NFL behind Myles Garrett and Michael Parsons. He'll probably flop next year. Seattle Seahawks defensive lineman Leonard Williams.
So he just left the Giants.
Yeah, he's 30.
That's what I want Dallas to get a if I got anybody on the whole roster, I would want a big like defensive lineman, like a defensive tackle. Dallas struggles so bad on the run defense. You need a big 6'4", 350 mammoth tammers back there. I mean,
we got another one coming up in just a minute. You might be interested in.
I think he'll be good. Leonard Williams. He'll be good with the Cowboys.
So then you got Vikings edge rusher Daniel Hunter. He's going to be 30. Been to 4 Pro Bowls, coming off a 16.5 sack season. So
yeah, I'll take him.
Double-digit sacks in 5 of his 8 seasons. So yeah.
I know what play you about to go to, and I want him back.
It'll be good.
Yeah, I know who you know who I'm talking about. Christian Wilkins,
yes,
defensive tackle.
Yeah,
that's going to be. He'll be in. They say he'll be in high demand.
Yes.
And this is second.
He was in the 2019 draft, so he's been around.
Oh, okay, he's been around. Okay.
Yeah. He got Kirk Cousins. So he's coming off Achilles tear, and he's 36 years old.
I didn't know he was that old.
You know, there's a lot of, and they're saying, and granted, it's true. He'll get paid because he's better than some of the players on the list, and there's a lot of desperation at quarterback for a lot of teams right now. I mean, you know, Atlanta seems to be the one most interested in Cousins, but we'll see. And then number 1 on the list, Kansas City Chiefs defensive lineman Chris Jones. Look, I don't think Kansas City will let him go. I think they'll work out something with him.
They would be flat out stupid to let him go.
And he told the crowd at the Super Bowl parade, "I ain't going nowhere." So we'll see about that. You know, a lot could change if somebody shows you the money. I guess the way things are now.
And that's what I'm saying. Like I wanted to say about Saquon and Xavier McKinney. Like a lot of times, you know, it's a business. So a lot of times, these GMs want to test the waters and say, "All right, how much are you gonna offer me? How much you gonna offer for this player?" And test it out, see what you get, and then test out the numbers a little bit. And I think that's what they're doing with Chris Jones.
Yeah. So the Seahawks released Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, both safeties.
Yep. Quandre Diggs is a safety.
Why is everybody releasing safeties and people in the secondary all of a sudden?
It's going to go through a phase where, like, with the running backs now, or like undervalued, like they don't get paid a lot, and it may be coming to the point where you see it with the secondary now.
Yeah. Good gracious, there's a lot of secondaries on that.
Let's see. Steelers not interested in Cousins, Mayfield, or Fields. So before we go, and before we do our last words, we want to take time to take our hats off to a guy that rode off into the sunset, as you would say, after 13 years in the league, all with the Philadelphia Eagles, Jason Kelce. Probably, the Kelce brothers are definitely talented and definitely entertaining at times. But Jason was there with the Eagles through the good times and the bad times. He got that Super Bowl win. And, after 13 years as an offensive lineman, man, I don't know what his injury situation is like, I'm sure it's I'm sure it's I'm sure he's banged up a little bit, but man, what I mean, you think about this entire career in Philadelphia, one of the game's best. Started 193 games, 7 Pro Bowls, and 6 first team All Pro selections. You got to take your hat off to this guy. I don't know what you guys think. I know you guys saw him a lot more than I did as far as watching because he's in your division. What you think about it, Jason Kelsey?
I didn't like playing against him, but he's I'll always remember playing against him. He was always tough on us, and he's a name. He's a name that nobody gonna forget if you've been watching football.
He'll go down to me. It's a couple Philadelphia Eagles I respected. Being to me the most one I ever respect is Brian Dawkins, and to me people about to laugh. The second one is Jason Kelsey.
Yeah,
I always respected him. And to me, I really want to see how that quarterback sneak's gonna work without him. That dude was a hoss, buddy.
Yep.
That dude was a hoss.
People don't realize how important that center quarterback connection is. But yeah, that's something. It's going to be interesting to see. That's another situation there in Philadelphia. Donnie Mullen. I don't know if you're still in here or not. What your cap situation is now after paying Hurts all that money, but yeah, I'll be interested to see because Philadelphia just kind of self-destructed that second half of the year. But we'll see if they can overcome that. I'm not too sure about old Sirianni. I'm not too sure about him. I don't know.
He's a jerk.
Oh, listen to
He's
you.
a bum. I don't like Sirianni.
So
Irks my nerves.
last thing I want to talk about. This is not NFL related, but we cover sports. July 20th, streaming live on Netflix. What I hear.
Yes, sir. Mike Tyson to face Jake Paul.
Yep.
What do you guys think about this? I mean,
I hope Mike Tyson. My dog says
the dog likes it. Yeah, the dog likes it.
Yeah. She just realized I was outside in the truck. But anyway, I hope Mike Tyson shuts that boy up. He gets on my nerves just like Sirianni does. He gets on my nerves. It's every day, bro.
57 years old, Mike Tyson. And
you see the training video of him today, though?
Oh, yes. He don't look like a 57-year-old.
No, he ain't slowed down.
But
I mean, Jake Paul always goes for the older guys and then claims he's the best.
Well, let me tell you, with this is nothing but a promotion. I mean, this is nothing to get his name out there and I'm sure they'll both get paid really good. Yep, it's Netflix. Netflix is going to carry it. The third live sport event Netflix has carried. So
I wonder if that's going to be like, is it going to be on Netflix like it be on your regular Netflix, or you got to pay for it?
I'm assuming it's going to be on regular Netflix, but they haven't really said. It just says streaming live on Netflix.
All right. Well, I plan on it if I got to pay for that one. I don't watch fighting like I used to, but I'll pay for that one.
I remember back, I started watching boxing when everybody hit the whole Rocky craze back when I was a kid. I was watching it when Larry Holmes was the champion, and he would always fight. And look, boxing even back then, they tried to play out the whole Rocky thing by bringing Jerry Cooney in to challenge. I don't know if you guys know who Jerry Cooney is, but you need to look it up. They were trying to make a Rocky out of it, and he fought a couple of times against Larry Holmes. But then the whole Mike Tyson deal happened, and boxing just took off. And yeah, I watched several pay-per-views where you paid all this money to watch it, and it lasted about 30 seconds.
Yeah, he knocked him out in the first round.
Yeah, and it got to a point where a lot of people were like, I ain't getting it no more because it ain't worth it. So that should be interesting to see how that goes down. But I had to leave off of that. Any last words from you guys?
Yeah. How about the Cowboys?
Jeez.
No,
How about them? All right. How about them? All right. Whatever.
I had fun, and thank y'all, and hopefully y'all let me come up here again, and we.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What about you, Matthew?
I ain't got nothing. I appreciate it. I enjoy coming up here every time. And Eric, thanks for coming up here with us.
Thanks, sir. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we're
You guys come by the house sometime to see me. I got some beer in the cooler.
he's got some hot dogs too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I got some hot ballpark, man.
Good Lord, you living house to hog, you getting ballparks, but I got to get some guacamole.
I saved money. I got my own savings account with it's labeled ballpark. So
No, let me tell you, I'm picky about my stuff. I eat Jesse Jones.
That's right. Jesse Jones is a good hot dog.
Yes.
yes.
So Jesse Jones with Heinz ketchup, just like Heinz Field.
And you can't have too much ketchup.
No. I've got 3 big containers of ketchup right now up in the cabinet right now, and because I'm scared I'll run out.
Like,
all right, guys, that's going to do it for this week on the Final Score. We will see you next week where we'll be talking more, hopefully more free agents. We'll find out a little bit more about where everybody's going to head to. Maybe we'll have Mel Kiper Jr. on next week after he hears this. He'll probably want to come on and defend himself. But Eric, Matt, thank you guys. Birdsong, Facebook user, whoever you were, Miss Donnie, all you guys that chimed in, we appreciate you guys coming in. And next time, guys, if you didn't chime in this time, make sure you chime in next time. Give us a follow anywhere you listen to your podcast at, whether Spotify, Apple Music, wherever, and then give us a 5-star review if you don't mind. It won't take but like 5 seconds, and it doesn't cost a thing, but it helps us out a lot. It will help us get guests on here, gets us up there in the line. Everybody starts seeing us more when you do stuff like that. Or go to our YouTube page and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. That'll help us out a lot. And we're also on TikTok. Yes, we're on the TikTok. So there's a lot of we put a lot of old sports clips up there.
None of that costs money. None of that costs y'all money.
None of it costs money. It's free. Give us a follow there too. If you're on TikTok, look for us up there. Guys, thank you so much, and we will see you next week on the Final Score.